So The Boys, Season
Yeah,
5, Part 2,
yeah,
Episodes 5 to 8.
yes.
Done 1 to 4, 5 to 8. So we both enjoyed the first part.
We did,
We
we
both
did.
were pretty on board with it. I liked all the episodes. The first 3 especially I thought were really, really good.
Teed it up nicely for the second half.
Teed up very nicely. So first of all, I guess, what are your overall thoughts on the second part of the season?
There's bits I really liked. Obviously, we'll delve into. Like I just mentioned some. I think Frenchie's death was really good.
Mhm.
I thought it was really impactful. I really felt the emotion between him and Kamiko in that
Mhm.
scene, and I liked as well how he's like what he said to Homelander. Like he had that fight in him, and I always like those moments where it's like, that Homelander in his weird twisted way. He always kind of likes that. He likes the people who's like he hates people like the Deep, who
Mhm.
just bow down to him. It's like he
Mhm.
almost likes that bit of fight.
Yeah.
So I think that was really good. But then there was also just some bits that I think were a bit underwhelming. Obviously, the final episode just come out and just didn't. I don't think it was bad. There's things that I did really enjoy in them, and like overall, I think it kind of was like, yeah, it's a very happy ending. Yeah, I just think it just kind of felt a bit underwhelming with some of the big set pieces with Homelander and
Mm.
all that stuff. So, what about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. I'm kind of underwhelmed. I think underwhelmed's the word I would use.
Yeah,
But that's only really because of the last episode. Like, before the last episode, I kind of, maybe the second to last episode as well, but I mean, for most of the season, I was on board. Like, I'd felt it was interesting. It's very heavy on the satirical stuff. It is very on the nose. So if that annoys you, and maybe it used to be a bit more subtle, but it didn't annoy me. I enjoyed all that. Um, it was just when we got to the end, and I guess we'll talk about maybe some of the things that we didn't like. Like, I wasn't sure why they decided to not have Soldier Boy play
yeah,
any part in that final
very
episode.
strange decision.
Very strange. I mean, he was one of the best parts of definitely this season, but probably since he's come in.
He felt like in the previous season, obviously where he wasn't in it, right? It was in the season before that, no?
I think
And like,
so.
yeah, and it's like it felt like when he's not, he's got such a good presence. He's such a great actor. He's such a good character as well. He perfectly, like we said before in the first part, he's like he perfectly embodies that man from that
Mhm.
generation. Um, and then hearing as well before the final episode. Now and I did get your point of view when you said like, they've probably preemptively said it to defend the fact. Oh, like
Which
people
is
go,
what they
where is
did.
it? Yeah, but I just think I'm like again, like you said, why? But I just don't like the fact we're already knowing these things as well. It's like
Yeah.
it was a very strange
It's almost like
choice.
they were trying to mitigate the disaster there. They knew that people weren't going to like that. So if they tell them first, then it won't be a big shock and disappointment to them on the
Yeah,
day. But
which I think
I
is a
think it's
cop out.
it's
It's
a
a
cop
cop
out. It's a
out.
massive
Yeah.
cop out. But I think the way that some of these characters are resolved is a cop out. I think the way that he's resolved is a cop out. He's just put back to sleep. I think the way that Sage is concluded is a cop out, and it's almost an afterthought. It was like, oh, what do we do with Sage?
Yeah, yeah,
And then she, gets the powers taken away and is gone.
yeah.
And it
She gets
felt
a
like
happy
her
end.
her
Yeah.
character was better than her conclusion. She deserved a better conclusion than that. The Deep, I get what you mean. Yeah, maybe a little bit underwhelming in terms of what preceded it, but I like the fact that that he was killed by the fish.
Oh
I kind of
yeah,
think that was
I
funny.
wanted that. I was very like that was the best part of it. But there's just some part of me where I'm like, I don't know. I think I found that whole like sequence because this was like the big battle, Starlight against the Deep, and then Billy and Ryan against Homelander and Kamiko against Homelander. And it's like I just didn't. I don't know. They felt very contained. Like it was just like I get it. Maybe doesn't need to be like what the DC films are or something like that, or the Marvel films where it's like they're destroying loads of stuff. But
Yeah.
it just felt like they're fighting on a beach and then they're fighting in the Oval Office. But I don't know. It felt a bit contained where I felt like the first half of the season for me felt like it did a really good job of building up the scale, and I still think they did do it in this when he's doing the speech and all that stuff. I'm like, that's really like I was really on board with it then. It really had that scale of like, oh yeah, you believe that he's doing this to the whole of America again, like seeing who's on board with him. But then when it got to the actual confrontation, we saw the promotional material and it's like got him on the White House lawn. I just
Yeah.
think bit of a switch up in it because it just felt very contained and very
Yeah.
underwhelming because it felt over so quickly.
Yeah. I think it was. I mean, like you say. I mean, I think you could improve that if you had, for example, the thing that they were doing with the psychics and reading out the non-believers, that process should have started before they got to the White House.
Yeah.
When they get to the White House, then there's panic in the streets, people are getting killed in the streets, like. Then you've got some stakes, some huge stakes for what's happening.
Yeah.
And this is happening in amongst all of that. It seemed way too easy to kill Homelander to me. Like the idea that all they had to do was get in a room with him and then just take his powers away and then kill him. And the fact that they spent, I mean, this is one of my points one of my notes that I made, that the virus became irrelevant. They spent a season plus developing that virus, and they then decided to give Homelander V1, which they didn't need to do. It was just because they thought maybe they'd written themselves into a corner where they were going to have to deal with all the soups dying, and they didn't want to have to do that. So they decided then, we'll give Homelander V1, which again was a very weird decision to have Soldier Boy all of a sudden.
Yeah, just hand it over.
Give him that, and then just kind of fade away.
Yeah.
And then
I get the dynamic of their relationship, but then why is he just not in the show? Like,
there should be explanation for that. And then I also just I think some of it is just underwhelming. There was a bit too much of a for a show that's supposed to have an edge to it, and a show that is sort of taking the piss out of the corporate Marvel style of things. It ends in a very Marvel-y way. There was sacrifice, a few, but there's always going to be a bit of sacrifice. We always knew some people were going to die. It felt like it ended in a very safe way, and I don't think that it was a very safe show, and it felt kind of disappointed in that regard. The Gen V characters, by the way, had no business.
Yeah, I was very much like when those scenes come up. I, being honest, haven't seen any of Gen V.
I've seen season 1, but I didn't see season 2. I think season 1 was alright, but I care about season 2.
Marie Monroe, like when her and Annie are having that conversation, and it feels like it's supposed to be like a real like kind of proud mentor moment. But it didn't really land for me because I don't know how close they are because I haven't seen that.
No, and I don't think you should have to watch multiple shows just to get one storyline. It should be contained within that show. So that was odd for me. Again, I didn't hate the season, far from it. I enjoyed the season a lot up until sort of the end, where they had so long to develop everything, but then they kind of started to almost think, we've got to wrap this up now. So every character has to have their own little ending, and this character popped off, and this is this character. Tick this one off, tick that one off. And it all kind of felt. The only one I really bought and remembered is Kamiko's.
Yeah.
Because it was like that. Her and Frenchie actually kind of.
There was real emotional. There. Yeah, you really bought it.
That was the thing that they talked about, and then she went and did that. So that kind of felt earned. But a lot of the other stuff was kind of it's almost a bit of a, it's not a whimper of an ending, but it kind of fades away.
Yeah, because even again, like we were saying, on something I did like how in the end, like again, there's certain bits of like the structure of like, I like how Homelander goes out, where he was stripped of his powers. He's just this like
stripped of his dignity, and he's begging for his life. And
and the whole world sees it. That's important. That's important. Yeah, that's what I really like about that. But again, everything around that, like the fight itself, felt a bit slightly underwhelming for me. But again, like you're saying, I don't think it's not like it was bad. I think it was really good, but it just felt like the last one was a bit like, oh yeah, okay, like it's all right. It wasn't bad, it wasn't amazing. It was just all right. Like, it had some good moments, had some bits. I was like, I feel like wasn't what I was hoping for with that person. That feels a bit underwhelming for that character, like you said. So
I think people complained that nothing was happening in most of the season,
which
I felt, I didn't necessarily agree with that. I kind of felt it was that there were things happening. It's just maybe when they got to that final episode, they had to kind of tick everything off, and it was very kind of formulaic and very like, some of these things could have been concluded earlier on in the season or throughout the season. I just don't think it was particularly interesting, a lot of the way that it was resolved.
No, I agree.
I found a bit generic, but again, everything up until that, I liked most of the episodes of the season.
I'll say 4-star.
The last season,
4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'll go 3.5.
Bing Pat.
Let's go. Do the honours to turn the camera off. past 2 times
My
I've
first
put
time
my
doing
put
it.
my
Thing.